All right. Yo. What's going on? This is the Nuclear Dad Blogcast, and I am your host, E.C. McKeever, aka the Nuclear Dad. And today I want to talk about choosing wisely, choosing your social circle, choosing your friends, choosing your associations, choosing wisely. So, in regular Nuclear Dad fashion, sit back, relax, get yourself something cool to drink, get yourself something good to eat, put your feet up, and let's go. Let's start the show, baby. All right. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. Um, Today's show was inspired by a situation I had. So I'm on YouTube a lot. I don't know if it's too much, but I'm on YouTube often, and I like looking at content. I generally like looking at content that is something that feeds my either my intellect or my spirit or my business prowess, but it's got to be something that is beneficial to me. I don't like mindlessness, and this famous word that everybody's been saying for the last couple of years, algorithm. My algorithm has been slightly altered because if you are not a hip hop fan, there was recently a rap battle that ensued between a rapper from the West Coast and a rapper from Canada. I generally don't shout out rappers or entertainers on this platform, but if you know, you know. So, in the process of looking up all things involving this rap battle, my algorithm was fed some information that normally it wouldn't be fed. I normally don't look into things of this context. And in doing so, I got suggested a lot of different videos, a lot of different channels, people who I normally wouldn't even think twice about looking at or listening to. And I came across this channel. I will not name the channel. Long story short, this channel was like an open platform, and people from the audience can get up and talk as part of the show, as part of the content, which I think is cool. It's kind of like a clubhouse feel, but it's on YouTube. Cool. I had been contributing to the conversation a couple of times, a couple of days. I was listening maybe 3 or 4 days. And in the process of me getting involved in the conversation, I was asked a question. And my response to that question wasn't taken well. And from what I understand, my audio was a little choppy. So I got cut off, which is normal for this platform. But then one person said something that did not sit well with me. Now, I digress. The reason why I say I normally would not even look at a platform like this, I wouldn't view any content on a channel like this, is because it's not a part of my normal everyday. I study a lot of different things, I look into a lot of different subjects, and this subject is not one of them on a regular basis. Partly because I used to be a rapper, and I really have no interest in hip hop, to be truth be told. I mean, I listen to some old school stuff, but not really anymore do I engage in anything to do with rap. But this battle stirred up some old feelings, brought back some old energy, and I was here for it. I enjoy the sport of battle rap sometimes. So this platform that I'm talking about, the kids would call it ratchet. It's ratchet. It's a lot of cursing. It's a lot of things that it's not really my bag. Not to say, I'm completely a square, but I'm becoming a square in my older age. Because I understand the things that you say, the things that you see, the things that you take in via your ears. It can influence your life. It can influence your psyche. So I'm very mindful of the things that I put out into the world and the things that I let um, enter my ear space and my eye space from the world. So I slipped up in listening to this, and I'm titling this show, or working title, "Choose Wisely," right? Because you got to choose wisely. Now, when this person on this show said some things about me, it kind of bothered me, and I kind of wanted to go back on and say some things, but I said, you know what? That is me feeding into the lower vibration. Now, if people are listening to the show, they're going to say things like, oh, we're pushing the culture. Oh, we're bringing out real news. But truth be told, the hosts and the guests, while there are some people who have some higher level information, the host and majority of the guests are pretty low vibrational. And this is not me judging. This is just me speaking my point from where I stand and where I am in life right now, right? So I don't know if I'll be going back on there. I listened to a little bit today, but I kind of came back to that realization um, for context, biblical context. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33 says, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character, or bad communication corrupts good morals. Example. You ever been around that one friend or family member or coworker that I'm not gonna say they're a bad person, but they don't necessarily make good choices. They may not be a bad person, but they may not make good choices. And they may not always have a positive outlook. They may not always bring something to the table that is to benefit you, to build you up. And not saying you need to be selfish in your relationships, but what I'm saying is like minds attract like minds. And because I was in a lower mental state engaging in content with this rap battle, I was fed via my YouTube algorithm this lower vibrational platform that solely focuses on entertainment, news, gossip. Now, some of the other contributors to the panel may bring something else to the table, whether it's science. Now, I heard someone, get on there and try to say something about God, and they cut him off. Nobody want to hear that, and that's cool. That's where you are in your walk in life. But where I'm at in my walk in life, I just gave you biblical context from 1 Corinthians. Evil communication corrupts good morals. And I'm not going to call these guys evil. But when you lose count of how many times a person on a quote unquote professional platform is using vulgarity, and that's something that you try not to do, it kind of messes with your spirit. You know what I'm saying? It kind of brings you down. Because again, I had thoughts on going back up there and saying some things to this person, addressing this person. Because in my former life, reputation is everything. Your name is everything. And this guy said, oh yeah, I remember this guy. I think that was the guy from last time that said this. No, sir. I didn't say anything of the sort. Whatever reference you're making, that was not me. Do not put that on my name. And that's what I was going to go say. But it wasn't going to be as nice as I just articulated it, right? I had intentions on going up there. I thought it out in my head. I had intentions on going up there and saying a few crass words, but I would have been feeding into that same spirit that dominates that show. Now, I've heard old ladies up there. I've heard young ladies up there. I've heard people that are very intelligent up there. But, when it comes to the host, it's a lot of, something the old person would say, it's a lot of tomfoolery. And I have an old soul, but I'm not an old person, but I'm older. At least I feel like I'm older than the majority of the people that's on this show. And I really think what it is people are gravitating towards it because there's not a lot of shows that, if any, on YouTube where people get pulled up from the audience to talk on a regular basis. I have seen shows where people engage with their audience during question and answer time. Very rarely. But I have not seen shows where people get to talk throughout the whole show. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was cool. And I figured I'd engage. Mistake on my part. I don't take it personally. But also, old energies came back, like I said, where Don't play on my name. Don't play with my name. If you don't have evidence of me doing something, don't put that out there. So I had to take a step back, had to take a breather, and realize that I got other things going on in life. I can't be involved in these shenanigans. I can't be involved with, people vexing my spirit, because that's really what it was. My spirit was vexed. But it was a full circle moment because I'm engaged mentally in this rap battle where all kind of personal insults were thrown at these two different parties, all kind of accusations, some of the worst stuff you could imagine. And because I was like, oh, listen to what he said, and I'm sharing it amongst people that I know privately. Oh my God, did you hear this? Did you hear what he said about that? And because I have a knowledge of a lot of different subjects and a background in music and lyricism and decoding things, I could read between the lines and under the surface layers of what was said. Like, oh, this really means this and this really means that. Beyond the surface of some of the scathing accusations, right? And then I was fed this nonsense of a channel. And I may pop in once or twice because some guys on there were saying some really, really interesting things. But again, low vibrational. Shit, even the devil knew scripture, right? So sometimes it's not about how cool something sounds. You got to be able to read in between the lines and not be influenced by something that looks good or sounds good, because it can really be to your detriment. You know, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. So, again, the book says, the Bible says, the enemy comes in as a flood. When you think about a flood, it's not a little water trickling in through the skylight or a little rain coming in through your window. No, a flood means from all sides. Front door, back door, garage door, windows. Flood is something that is above ground level. So we're being flooded with this information. I was being flooded with information and content involving this rap battle. And now, via the internet and the social media airwaves, I'm being flooded with more negative content because I engaged in this battle when it was at its height for so long. I was waiting for the next diss record. I was waiting for the next post from a content creator or a podcast or an exclusive music leak. So I was flooded with information, and now I'm being flooded with information more, and I had to take a step back and remember to not engage. Because again, the Bible also says, resist the devil and he'll flee. All right. So what I'm saying is, bringing it back. I know I went on a little tirade, had to take a little break. I went on a tirade about this YouTube thing, and my feelings weren't hurt. Maybe a little bit. Maybe my ego was chipped a little, but only for like 5 minutes. I'm not one of those people where I hold grudges, but I did come to a realization, right? Because I'm very observant and I'm very self-aware, and I was aware of the fact that psychologically I was affected, and I am observant enough to know that I put myself in that situation, right? It's almost like peer pressure, where all your friends are behaving in a way that you probably shouldn't behave in, but it's something to do at the time. You're bored, or you were just there and it seemed like fun. It seemed innocent at the time. And they say it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt, right? That's what I tell my sons all the time. Nobody listens until you get hurt or you get in trouble. And psychologically, it made me think about how we are affected by positive and negative influences in our lives. Be it, like I said, family, friends, co-workers, romantic partners, business partners, whatever. Anybody that we have a relationship can either be a positive or a negative influence. And when you think about positive influences, you got mentors. Negative influences could be again, the kid that you shouldn't have been hanging out with that maybe led you to drinking at an early age, or maybe led you to smoking at an early age. And as an older man who has been through some of these things and have learned from my mistakes in the past, and now I'm trying to not necessarily correct those wrongs, but teach my sons to be independent thinkers and not go along with the crowd and not be influenced by crowd psychology. Because, there was there's something called the Stanford Prison Experiment. It's off the subject, but it's on the subject because it talks about crowd psychology and different influences that can change your perception of yourself and or the world around you. So real quick, in 1971, there was a professor. Now, this experiment was funded by the U.S. Office of Naval Research. So it was a research experiment, and the principal investigator was a man named Philip G. Zimbardo. Philip G. Zimbardo. It lasted 6 days, and then it was canceled in the first week because of the psychological effects it had. So there was an advertisement that was placed in a paper or something where they will pay people $15 a day to basically be prisoners or guards in an experiment. Now, they made a mock experiment in the basement in Stanford University, right? And the people who were picked as prisoners, now they chose 24. Over 70 people responded, but they only chose 24. And of the people that were chosen as prisoners, they were actually arrested by real police officers and handed over to the experiments. And it was a mock prison in the basement of a campus building, right? Now, Zimbardo wanted to make it seem as real as possible. He wanted to simulate the real life environment of being a prisoner. Now, they made the guys that were prisoners wear dresses as their uniform and carry a padlock chain around one ankle, right? And on the second day of the experiment, so the first day they were locked up, they were given dresses. On the second day, the prisoners staged a rebellion. And then the guards worked out this system of rewards and punishment to manage the prisoners. Now, within 4 days of the experiment, 3 prisoners became so traumatized that they were released. And over the course of the rest of the experiment, some of the guards became cruel and tyrannical, while a number of prisoners became depressed and disoriented. However, only after an outside observer came upon the scene and registered shock did Zimbardo conclude the experiment less than a week after it had started. So they psychologically damaged these men, but again, they signed up for it. They didn't go snatch random people off of the street. These people signed up for this. And again, that's what I'm saying. We sign up consciously or unconsciously. And also this experiment was videotaped. But I digress. We sign up consciously or unconsciously to be a part of certain social circles and environmental circumstances. Some things we can't help. Some situations we're born into. But after you get to a certain age and you have some kind of discernment, you are responsible for the choices you make and the company you keep. Now, when I say choose wisely, you gotta have some kind of scale where you evaluate friends based on whether they are encouraging you, whether they're helping you, share life goals or support your personal growth or encouraging healthy habits. Some people are just toxic, right? And when you think about toxicity in a relationship, it involves manipulation and control and lack of respect. And, sometimes people say mean stuff in a joking way. And I know as a man, we can joke with our friends and say disparaging things about them. But you got to also look at who is being said and what is being said and how it's being said. Because some people are actually saying things and doing things and they really mean it. It's not just a joke. It's not just, ha ha ha, you're a loser. No, some people really mean like, dude, you're a loser. And the only reason why I'm hanging out with you is because it makes me feel better to bring you down. So you got to be careful with people like that. You got to set boundaries. And it's, just for maintaining mental health, you got to clearly define what is acceptable and not acceptable. And you got to be stern with communicating it assertively, which is what I was going to do. I was going to go back on the show and communicate with this dude. Don't play with my name, son. But is it really worth it? Because a week ago, I didn't know anything about any of these people. I didn't hear about this platform. I didn't care about this platform. So I got to remember that this is not going to make or break who I am and what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm the nuclear dad. I got things happening. I'm not on here talking about celebrities, although previous episode I did talk about Diddy, but the show was about domestic violence, and what happened with him was the catalyst, right? But also I think with me uploading that too, I was fed these things on my algorithm. So it all plays hand in hand. It's all full circle, right? But again, you gotta set some boundaries and have some self-awareness and emphasize the importance of regular self-reflection and seeking feedback from trusted friends or mentors or loved ones, right? Because even coaches need coaches. Sometimes I have people that I bounce things off of, but more often than not, it's myself. It's in my quiet reflection time with God, or I'm meditating, or I'm praying, and I'm playing over the events of the day in my head. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need to be subject to certain kinds of behavior and treatment, nor do I deserve to be. And I also have to be mindful that I can't allow myself to put myself in certain situations that are not for the betterment. If anything, what I learned is social media is a mind suck. It's a mind trap. It's a time trap. You could spend countless hours. There's a term called doom scrolling. You could spend countless hours doom scrolling, looking at post after post after post, be it TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels. It doesn't matter. So you got to be cognizant of your time, because we don't got a lot of it. And I had to put it into perspective. I don't got a whole lot of time. None of us do. But the fact that my boys are getting bigger, I'm getting older, I gotta be getting better every day. I can't be spending time listening to people talking about the stuff that these rappers did and these entertainers did, and how terrible they are, or how great they are, or this person had charges back in the day, and this person said this in their song that's questionable, and we have to analyze their sexuality under a microscope. Why do you care? Why does it matter? Is your sexuality at question? If not, why are you worried about what other people say? Is it because at one point you shook your booty to that music and to those lyrics, and you let it go over your head, or in one ear and out the other, and now that all of this stuff is coming to light, you're questioning yourself like, well, you know what? I was dancing to when he said that spicy lyric. And now you got to question yourself, but you project it outward like, hey, I'm offended by this guy that made this song 20 years ago or 5 years ago. And now I'm upset about it because it's come to the forefront that all of these dudes are a bunch of creeps. Stay away from the creeps, man. That's all I'm saying. It's your job to be the best version of you that you can be. And in doing that, weed out the nonsense. You want to reap a beautiful harvest when this life is done. And it's going to be hard to do that if you got weeds growing amongst the vegetation. The vegetation that's going to be good for you. I mean, yeah, people say dandelions are a weed, but it has edible components. But not everybody like dandelion greens. I've tasted them. They're super bitter. Super healthy for you, but super bitter. So what's a weed? What's proper vegetation is solely dependent on who you are, what you believe in, and where you feel like it is you're going in life. All right, we wrapping up. I know you've been here for a minute. I appreciate your time. I'm trying not to make the shows an hour, although I love talking. I got a black belt conversation, and these are topics that I feel like aren't covered that much because most people are just going with the flow. They're tuning into the nonsense, and it's becoming a snowball effect. So I'm going to inject a little bit of light into the circumstances. I'm going to inject a little bit of love into the algorithm and, say my 2 cents and put it on out there. Whoever supports, supports. Whoever doesn't support, doesn't support. But I'm cool with that because this is part of my self-growth and my accountability with myself and for my babies and for the future and for all you listeners and all you fathers and husbands out there who are striving to be better in a world full of chaos. It can be done. I'm doing it. We're doing it together, man. So, again, personal growth and accountability. There's a self-awareness that has to be cultivated and self-reflection at the end of the day. Like I said, play back those events from the day. What did you like? What didn't you like? Because we can always think about, man, I should have said this after the moment has passed. I should have done this after the moment has passed. And that's cool. I think we all do that. Not everybody is an adept at flying off of the handle or handling situations perfectly in their mind in the moment of those situations happening. There's no fault in that. It's fight or flight. It's psychological programming. It's psychologically the psychological development of a person over years and situational happenings based on reference points to where now in present day when something happens, you react how you react and you respond how you respond in the moment. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no flaws in however you approach situations. Just know that every day we can get better. There's always an opportunity to grow. Sometimes there's challenges there, and it's your job to find those challenges and chip away at it. It's almost like I forgot the artist, the sculptor who made David, right? Like that's the one that everybody talks about, sculpting your David, right? Even though it was a naked dude, but whatever. You're sculpting yourself. This you that is here now is one big shell, and you got the chisel and you got the hammer, and you're chipping away at these flaws. You're chipping away at the rough spots, and then eventually you get the fine grit sandpaper and you smooth it down and you shine it up and you make it presentable to the world. But in the process, I'm helping you grab your chisel and your hammer and sculpt your David, which is the ultimate you. That's what this is about. That's why the Nuclear Dad was created. I couldn't find the resources I need, so I made it. I became the me that I wanted to see in the world. I became the change that I wanted to see in the world. And we all fall short sometimes, but it's always good to have a community and a system of support. And if you don't have it, make it or join one. This is a community. You can search the Nuclear Dad on all social platforms, Instagram, Facebook. I think the Facebook page has a couple thousand likes. I don't remember, but I'm not on there that much, and I need to be on there more because I know there's people that are reaching out and thanking me and asking for advice. I'm the nucleardad.com. There's blogs up there. I'm going to be adding more resources. I'm going to be creating more resources. I'm going to be creating journals. I mean, we have the Datitude journal, right? But I'm going to come up with some more things to help people get to that point in life where they want to be. I'm going to maybe create something where you can have an application of reflection and self-assessments and SWOT analyses, because that's needed too. That's part of the journey. And, this isn't a call to action, but it is a call to action. I don't have anything for you to buy right now except for the Datitude journal available on Amazon and the Romance journal available on Amazon. The Romance journal is an I love you to your wife. If you look it up, you'll see what it's about. I'm not going to dwell on it now because that's not what it's about. But this is about taking actionable steps and, make a list of your closest relationships and evaluate them and set goals for creating and fostering positive connections while distancing yourself from the negative ones. It's okay to slowly distance, or it's okay to completely and abruptly break away if it no longer serves the you that you're trying to create. Because it's no use on holding on to something that doesn't benefit you. It's no use to holding on to a relationship that is only making you um, feel bad about yourself, feel bad about your situation. If you want to go into business and you don't have anybody in your family or your immediate circle that is business oriented, okay, we're going to dedicate a little bit more time to learning about business, to learning about SOPs and different operational standards that create a thriving business. Or if you want to learn a new skill or a new hobby and you don't know anybody who does that, start researching. You know, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is you want to be. If you're here right now, it's because this the self help thing is your thing. You want to learn how to be the best you, or at least a better you than you were yesterday, last week, last month, last year, last decade. We're constantly progressing and moving forward. That's what this is all about. So, again, there's all kind of resources out there. And if you can't find one, become one. That's all I got for you. I appreciate your time if you made it this far. Remember a few things. Remember your mission. Remember to stay diligent. Remember to stay vigilant. Remember to stay passionate. Remember to stay focused. Remember to stay grounded. And most importantly, gentlemen, remember to stay cool.